Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome along to the wilds of Suffolk. I'm out here yet again doing what I do, walking along in beautiful locations, such as this, giving you my thoughts and opinions on things that are happening in the world, in the public consciousness. If it's your first time here, welcome. This is what I do. I hope you enjoy it. If you're a returning subscriber, all 1,136 of you I think there are today, welcome back. I'm still amazed and honoured, overawed by how many people join me for these walks. So thank you one and all for being here. It really is, it's amazing. So thank you. So today we're going to be talking about what's happening in the world. Warning, you know, this is, I can't stress this enough to warn everybody about what is happening. And today I'm doing this, it seems extreme, I know, but I feel that if I don't say something about this, then I'm doing a disservice to everyone that tunes into this channel for my thoughts on what's going on. So today I'm going to be talking about the I.M.F's warning of that they've made a mistake. Okay, the I.M.F didn't make a mistake. I'll be talking about this as we go through. So I shared a video yesterday on my Telegram channel. Kristalina Georgieva from the I.M.F, along with Christine Lagarde at the European Central Bank, and you know it's equal to Janet Yellen at the American Treasury, Federal Reserve. You know, all those crew over there. Has anyone noticed? And there's just been a woman, Lionel Bernard, has just been put onto the board of Federal Reserve as well. Does anyone notice it's all women here? Why is that? Why do you have women running these massive organisations? I.M.F, European Central Bank, Treasury. Why would you do that? Why would you have a woman running them? Now, this isn't sexist, by the way. It's not being sexist. Well, it is in a way, but I'm not being sexist, okay? I'm not the one who put them there. I'm commenting on why they're there. Now, it's the same as having that little, how dare you, you know, the doomsday device, how dare you, I should be in school. You know, that kind of thing going on, Greta Thunberg, that you have women in place because if you dare to say anything, then you're sexist. Oh my God, you're a bad person. How dare you say something bad about a woman? Yeah, it's a shield. The same as people like George Soros, who was a name I couldn't remember in my last video. He's a piece of shit. Same as people like George Soros holding up a religion that they're Jewish, right? As a guard. So if you say anything, you're anti-Semitic, of course. But you know, by George Soros' own words, he doesn't believe in God, and he doesn't follow any religion. So it's have a woman up in front so you can't say anything, because if you do say something, you're a sexist. Have a religion up front that they don't follow, so that you can, oh yeah, you're anti-Semitic if you say something. Great shield. See how it works. Anyway, slightly off subject there, but what she said was the law of unintended consequences. Who said that before? Did I mention that before? But it's not unintended. The law of unintended consequences means that while we're focused on one thing, printing money and putting it into the system because of the virus that we created in a lab, because we're pumping money into the system, we didn't know that there'd be hyperinflation. We had no idea. We didn't think about that because we were watching one thing. But then we have to be focused on many things at the same time, like climate change. So they're building this narrative. Now, there's plenty of narratives that are floating around right now. Worldwide food shortage. Worldwide food shortage due to what? Sorry, what were we saying? Oh, the virus. Right. So let's go and see if we can bring it up to where we are now and understand the bigger picture, shall we? So 2 years ago, a virus came out of nowhere from a wet market. sorry. That's right. I'll try and stop from smiling. Okay, serious. From a wet market, a bat or a pangolin that had sex with a bat. I'm not sure exactly how this worked, but you know, let's go along with it. Pangolin and a bat had a sexual relationship. I did not have sexual relations with that pangolin, but they had something going on with a pangolin and a bat in a wet market. They didn't sell either of them. that that they couldn't tie the origin of the virus to the wet market. But just down the road there was a lab, a bioweapons facility. No, it's not weapons though, Chris, it's not weapons. You can't weaponize it. Bioweapons facility in Wuhan, in China, that was working on just that kind of virus. Okay? So that got out. Shut down the entire world economy. Okay? So no more production. There was nothing being produced. Everyone was sitting at home having money fed into their bank account just to keep them alive. So it's man-made. It's produced in a lab. And it accidentally somehow, I don't know how, got out into the public and created a situation where no one died, and the media built it up to be something it wasn't, and the world got shut down for 2 years. Right, now people are saying to me all the time, oh, big fancy, blah, 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 blah. Okay, 2020, how many people do you know that died? 0! What? 0? None! I know no one. No one! Do you know how many people I know have died recently? Or been adversely affected recently after they introduced the thing that you stick in your body? Lots. Oh, but it's all the virus from China, Chris. You don't know what you're talking about. You're not an epidemiologist. Blah, blah, bullshit. Okay? So we've got a man-made virus, came from a lab that shut the world down. Okay? Then they just started printing money into a system that I've already explained to you was already on its last legs, because I'll go back a little bit just to bring you up to speed, just in case you've just joined me here. Okay, you've got a financial system that was birthed into reality, not based on anything, purely fiat. Now before, where we are, we'll have to go back a little bit further. Okay, so we had a gold-backed currency in the American dollar after the Bretton Woods system, right? So after the Second World War, the world was in ruin, Europe was bombed to hell. So America said, look, give us all your gold, we'll put it in Fort Knox, we'll back the American dollar by gold, with gold, okay? And then you can back all your monies against the American dollar, right? So that the whole world's currencies are gold backed, okay? Now, that worked for a little while until the governments decided they wanted to spend more money than they had, okay? So, money creation happens by the central banks of the world, the Federal Reserve in America, Bank of England here in the UK. Privately owned, I don't care what anybody says, you're wrong, they're privately owned. So they print the money, they lend it to the government with interest. The only way the government can pay back that interest is by taxing you and me, okay? We get taxed, and then that pays back the interest on the money the government borrowed that they spent on. What are the government spending money on? Well, we need a pay rise. The government says we need a pay rise. Oh yes, I need to have my pond cleaned at my 4th house, my mansion. I need to have that done, so you need to pay for that as well, taxpayers. And we also need to travel internationally on private jets and have security all around us 24/7 that are armed. Well, we can't be armed, of course. So the government's spending all this money on weapons. Oh, look what Joe Biden's done. He's just sent another $800 million of American money over to Ukraine while Americans are starving. Because they're protecting Ukraine's borders, but American borders don't count. So Biden's sending tens of billions of dollars of American taxpayer money over to Ukraine, as is our Prime Minister, because he's a piece of dirt, to Ukraine, to a different country, our taxpayer money, because he decided, the Prime Minister decided, the President decided that that's the right thing to do. While people in this country, while people in America, while people in the countries that they're sending money from are starving, living on the streets, are struggling to pay their bills because energy prices have gone up. Why? Because of Russia. Okay, so anyway, so the only way the governments can pay back that money to the privately owned central bank is by taxing you and me. Okay, so this money creation happens. Now in 1971, 14th of August to be precise, Richard Nixon takes the American dollar off the gold standard and goes to a purely fiat currency, which means fiat, it's fraud, okay? That's all it is. They make up the money out of nowhere, then they charge interest on it. So it's like me printing some paper at home and saying, yeah, this is real. You know, I printed 100 on it, even though it's just a piece of paper. I just printed 100 on that, so it's worth 100. Okay? That's how money creation works. It's a lot more complex than that. If you don't understand it, go back. There's a few more videos that I've done. I don't want to dwell too much on it. Anyway, 71, American dollar gets taken off the gold standard. Purely fiat from then on. Okay? It's just based on nothing. It's just, they call it the petrodollar. Because all the oil that's sold in the world has to be done in American dollars. All the commodities basically are priced in American dollars. Okay, so then they just print it. The printing machine goes, you know, they're printing money like there's no tomorrow. Now, when you have all this money going into the system, well, hang on a minute, we're going to go a step further back. Now, if you listen to what these economists and these people at the Federal Reserve, Bank of England, I don't care who it is, all these people, all these scumbags, all these corrupt pieces of shit talk, they say, oh yes, we're at 2% inflation. So they inflate the money supply by 2% every year. It's never 2%. It is much, much more. But they say, okay, we're going to inflate the money supply by 2% a year. So that's 2% that you're paying, that you're losing in your spending power because they're not increasing the value of the money. They're decreasing the value of the money by putting more into the system because they borrow the value of that currency from all the currency that's in circulation. So if you put more into circulation, it's worth less. You get it? Okay, so if they're increasing the inflation by 2% a year, and when was 1971? 50 years ago, what is the value of your currency? Zero. No, I'm not doing a Illuminati sign. I'm saying it's zero. None. The value of your currency is zero. They've decreased, they've increased the money supply by 100%. So what's your money worth? Nothing. It's worth zero. Okay? So now we've got to a point where they're over 50 years, they've all 2% inflation, 100% worthless. Okay? So the financial system was always going to shut down. They've been talking about it for ages. The Great Reset, as Klaus Schwab from the World Economic Forum calls it. The Great Reset. Why do they have to have a Great Reset? Now, here we are in a situation where we've got so much money in circulation, okay? They've flooded money into people's accounts to keep them not working because of the pandemic, remember? The pandemic that was man-made, plandemic, okay? Now, also convenient that the lockdowns happened in 2020 when the election in America was happening. Awfully convenient, that. And so here we are. We've pumped all this money into the system, which means our money, it's not money, it's fiat crap, is worthless. Now, how can we get out of this situation? Normally it's a war, but the war in Ukraine isn't going the way that they thought it was. But they're still pumping money into it to bring down the economies of the world. So they're trying to create a level playing field by bringing the economies of the West down to a third world level, okay? So the purchasing power of your money is going to zero, okay? They have to bring the system down. So they're talking about cyber attacks, they're talking about all these things that could possibly bring down the system. And but look at what's happening now. In China, another lot of lockdowns, which means all the ports are closed, so they're not shipping anything out of China. What does that mean? All the shipping containers that would be able to be shifted around the world from other places to other places are all locked up in China. No? China doesn't want to bring down the American economy. Okay, neither does Russia. That you just cut out of the SWIFT system, which is controlled by the central banks, by the privately owned banks of the world. They just cut Russia out of the system. So Russia doesn't want to bring down the world financial system either. So they've got a convenient scapegoat if they decide to maybe bring down the power grid or bring down, you know, the whole economy. Oh, Russia's to blame, because Russia's to blame for everything. Damn you, Russia! Damn you! Bloody Russians, they're responsible for everything. Why is the wind blowing today? Bloody Russia! Russia, goddammit! So, we're in a situation now where everything is collapsing because it's all globalized. There's nothing localized anymore. All these vegetarians and vegans are like, we're saving the planet. Or in this country, here in the UK, we're saving the planet by not eating meat, but we're eating avocados. from over there, somewhere, from somewhere over the sea, from miles away, that we have to have a plane fly our avocados in from a different country because it can't grow them here. But I'm saving the planet, Chris. Idiot. If you're a vegetarian, cool. I'm happy for you. Eat whatever the hell you want. If you're a vegan, even better. Great. I'm happy for you. Do whatever you want. Do whatever you want. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. But don't try and say you're saving the planet when you're buying avocados from across the water. Okay? Alright? Let's be real here. If you're not eating local produce and you're a vegetarian or a vegan, and I'm sorry, if you're making that argument because you're trying to save the planet, you know, maybe question your judgment there a little bit, okay? Now, where the talk is a collapse of the system, and it's coming from everywhere. They're going to do this, okay? We've already got a supply chain halt going on all over the world, okay? They're talking about worldwide food shortages. Oh, Russia and Ukraine produce 25% of the world's wheat. What's going to happen if the food production shuts down? The third world will be crushed. Then what will happen? They will flood into the first world, creating a massive migration problem. Okay? So, with that in mind, listen to the messaging and understand what you can do to play a part in how we move forward from here. If you're completely reliant on a shop every day to give you what you need to be able to live, then you are going to suffer. I've been talking about having some extra food, some tinned food, some dried food in your house. Look, do whatever you can do to safeguard yourself, because you can do without a lot of things, but you can't do without food and water. Okay? You can't. You can only last so long without food and water. And if you're relying on a centralized government who has already admitted that they've lost it to save you, then you might be in trouble. Okay? Now, this whole fiat system is going to come down. It has to. It has to. The financial system is corrupt. It's all based on fraud. Fraud. It's all, none of it's real. It's all fraudulent. How the money is produced, how it's worked, this whole fractional reserve banking, it's all fraud. But that fraud props up everything that we do in the world. So, where we are in the world right now, with all the crises happening, and it's crisis to crisis, if you notice, that goes from the pandemic to war, back to the pandemic again. Oh my God, everyone's getting sick all of a sudden. We don't know why. Hasn't got anything to do with that. Nothing at all to do with the thing that everyone got stuck into them. Nothing at all. I don't know why I keep on getting sick. There's all these manufactured crises in the world, and it's going to get worse. So I have taken the steps. I've been talking about gardening and things like that for a while. I've taken steps to do something for myself, which I'm going to show you now. As you can see behind me, I have 4 large bags of very, very good compost here. Now I'm going to be transporting 4 tons, 4 tons of soil that I'm transporting from there. Just got delivered not long ago. We've been preparing our garden now for some time. We've been doing preparations, doing experiments with gardening for the last couple of years. I've talked about that in some of my videos before. But this year, due to everything that's been going on, we've decided to convert most of the backyard into garden space. So we're building beds. This is a method called no-dig gardening. So we've got some wood here that's come from pallets. I got the pallets free from work. So we've taken the wood off the pallets and we've fashioned it into these new beds that we've got different phases here of where we are in preparation. So basically the beds were built, they're lined with cardboard because we're built straight over the top of the grass, as you can see. We haven't torn any of the grass out. We've just gone over the top of the grass, and you lay cardboard underneath where you put the box, and then you wet the cardboard down, and the cardboard stops the grass from growing, and then the soil goes on top. You wet that in, and then you plant over the top. So as you can see, these are the experimental beds that we've been using over the last couple of years. So this one here has got onions and carrots in it, working already. They're growing. We've got some farmyard manure here, aged farmyard manure, so aged. We've got some lettuce growing in this little bed here, just a little plastic container that I had from lying around. So, you know, being ingenuitive. We've got a whole bed of spinach here that lasted the entire winter. That went through a winter here in the UK where it was snowing, and that spinach lasted all through the winter. So amazing. In here we've got beetroot, very, very good. Beetroot's amazing for you. Over here in this bed here, we're going to have peas and things, climbers growing up on the fence. We've got raspberries growing in there. These ones at the back here are all raspberries. We've got garlic growing in here. And all these bags are potatoes. So with everything that's been going on, we're preparing for the incoming or the oncoming food shortage by starting to prepare our stuff ourselves. So I will be doing another video about this as we sort of move further along. We start to get some growth in our garden, but as you can see, I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I'm not just talking, I'm not just saying we're preparing and not doing anything. You can see for yourself. And the reason we're only doing the back half of the yard is because right next door is a massive wild cherry tree. So we get cherries from there every year as well. Down the back here as well, just so you can see, like I pointed out the raspberries. We also have in here wild blackberries. These are wild blackberries. And down the back corner there is also more wild blackberries. So this is what we're doing. I have 4 ton of dirt to shift. So I'm going to go and get onto that. And I'll finish up the video. But I'll be finishing up with a sign off as always. But this is my backyard. This is what I'm doing. I suggest you do something similar. So that was my backyard. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. Putting my money where my mouth is, literally, because I need to be able to eat. I need to be able to feed my family. Now, I want to clarify something here, okay? I'm not a wealthy person. I work 6 days a week. My wife works 6 days a week. That's just to pay our bills, keep our head above water. We're not wealthy, okay? We are struggling just like everybody else. We have some investments in crypto and some, you know, that kind of thing. Now, in order to do the project that you just saw, to get it started, I had to sell some investments in order to have the money to do that, okay? But, it's a big but and I like big buts. The way that I view what I'm doing, setting up a garden, getting it prepared and making sure that I'm doing something positive, not only to help me and my family, but to help other people who are going to be struggling during this. I have sold some investments for the way I see it as another investment. Ensuring your food, ensuring your life through your food is an investment. Now, if you need to invest. You need to invest in yourself and your food security and your safety. And this is an investment that everyone should be making. You might not be able to do a garden, you might not have a yard, but I guarantee you've got a windowsill. You do. You can do sprouting seeds in a windowsill. You can always do something. You can have a tomato plant in your window. Anything you can do to offset the damage of what these clowns are creating is going to be beneficial for you. I can't make anybody do anything. All I can do is point out where the inconsistencies in the stories that they're telling us are and how we can mitigate it. Because I see big problems on the horizon. Look, the storm clouds are brewing. We've had a week of wonderful weather here. Beautiful sunshine. I shoveled 4 ton of dirt yesterday. 4 ton in the sunshine. Had a nice glow to my skin after that. Had my shirt off, felt manly. But I did that yesterday because I want to prepare, and I wanted to do this message for you today because if you listen to the messaging and look at what's happening in the world and the corruption and the fraud and the greed, well, you know, it is astounding what's going on. Look what's happening with Twitter. Elon Musk buying Twitter. People are up in arms. Oh my God, I can't believe a billionaire owns a tech platform. All the tech platforms are owned by billionaires. I mean, it's like, oh my God. Seriously, it is crazy how people are responding to this. Absolutely insane. Now, this isn't a message to scare you. This isn't about trying to scare you. This is about making you understand the messaging that is coming from these people. That they're trying to say, oh, it's all an accident. It's not an accident. This is deliberate. Everything that's happened for the last 2 years is deliberate. It's been leading up to this deliberately. Klaus Schwab over at the WEF, World Economic Forum, think tank, remember I spoke about them last time. Klaus Schwab wrote a book called The Great Reset. You know, this is planned for. This is deliberate because their system, the globalization system, is collapsing right before your eyes. And globalization means that it is to the minute delivery when you need it. So if the whole system, the whole things moving around the world system is not working properly, then you're not going to have the stuff that you normally have. Now, I don't know how bad it's going to get, but as I've said many, many times before, everything that is happening right now, and I do mean everything, all the messaging, all the fear, all the everything that's happening in the world is all about waking people up to the corruption that's happening in the world. Now, I've been talking about it for a long time, 4 years. I've been talking about inflation on Facebook to my friends who laughed at me, mocked me, called me an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about, Chris. You're such a fool, blah, 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 blah. All the bullshit, blah, blah. You don't know, Chris. I watch the news. I know, blah, blah. You're uninformed. You're uneducated. Maybe you should have stayed in school, blah, blah. Nonsense. None of those people are talking anymore. Trust the science, Chris. You know, none of them are talking anymore. Why? Because they know they're wrong. They've been fooled. And that's cool. It was a huge operation to fool everyone about everything. Now all the holes are being poked through this veneer of bullshit that we've been fed for years and years and years, but for the last 2 years definitely. And as this veil comes down and people start to recognize, they're not going to admit it. They can't admit they've been fooled because that would make them look like idiots. And it's easier to point at people like me and call us idiots. Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist, you're an idiot, you're a COVID-idiot. You heard that one? That was one of my favorites. So, I am bringing you this message today as a warning that if the last 2 years has taught you nothing, listening to these corrupt filth that have led you down a path that has not helped you but harmed you, if you've not learned anything over that time, learn something now. They don't care about you. They don't. It is all about them. Remember, they're psychopaths. They're psychopaths. They're crazy. You know, people think I'm crazy. I'm nothing. I might be crazy, but by comparison to these people, I'm the sanest person you know. That's scary. That's really scary. If I'm the sanest person you know. But look, the reason I'm doing this is I'm not trying to scare people. I'm not trying to fearmonger. I'm not trying to do any of that. I'm trying to bring you up to speed and say, hey, wake up to what is going on. Look at what is happening around you. The messaging is all about, wake up! Hey, it's not real. They're making it all up, and they're deliberately doing this to benefit themselves. You know, the carbon that they want reduced, that's you. Oh, there's too many people in the world. Yeah? So, we all have to recognize, firstly, what's going on. Acknowledge it and say, yep, I see it. Can you do that? Can you do that after the last 2 years? Have you learned something from this? I hope. The fact that there's more and more people here fills me with hope that more and more people are getting it and starting to question the narrative. I really do hope, you know, that that's what it is. I hope people aren't just tuning in to listen to me rave and go down the rabbit hole of lunacy. But we need to get this message out to people. It is all about waking as many people up as we can for what is coming. Because if we can as a community, I mean, where I live out in the middle of the country. I live in a farming district. All the fields are planted. This is where pig farming happens in the UK. This is where I live. That's where all the farms are, cow farms, everything is here where I live. I've already spoken to all the farmers. I've spoken to everyone around here that has the shotgun licenses for their farms. We're prepared. I'm just concerned for everybody else. You know, you've got to get together in your communities and try and bring people together in an understanding and saying, okay, look, if things do go bad, what can we do about it? Because if you don't have a community of people around you and you try to go it alone, if things break down and you try to go it alone, when you sleep, everything you have will be taken from you. In a doomsday scenario I'm talking about. Let's not sugarcoat what's going on here. If they bring down this financial system, people will panic. If you don't have access to food and water to feed your family, people will panic. Look what happened in China, they looted the stores. You know, the stores are first. You've got to form communities, you've got to get in touch with people around you, understand who your neighbours are, who's friendly, who's not, who sees what's going on, who doesn't. You're going to have to work with people who still don't see it. In order to get through this, everyone has to come together. Now, this is all about waking people up and making them recognize, because until everyone sees it, we're going to be fighting the same battles, because you're going to have people that still buy into the narrative that these people have created for them and still keep on getting things stuck in them because they think it's the best thing for them to do. There's nothing you can do about that, by the way. Nothing you could say, nothing you could show them, nothing you could do, no evidence you can present. Doesn't matter what you say. Trust me, I've been doing this for years. It doesn't make a difference what you say, because you know why? When a friend tells you something, it doesn't mean anything to you. I've been a chef for 35 years. 35 years. My wife still argues with me about how to cook things. Because the stranger is always the expert. The stranger is always the expert. You can't tell your friends the truth about anything, because they're not going to believe you. They're going to be like, I know who you are. What do you know? Somebody I know accused me and said, oh, big year for you, chef. Like my career has anything to do with my knowledge or my skill set or my understanding of the world. Big year for you, chef. You're an epidemiologist, you're all these things, and you're an economist. That's how it is. So, I'm doing this message in hopes that this is going to reach someone that for the last 2 years have believed everything they've heard, in hopes that I can bring this message to you and say, please do something for yourself, no matter how small. Invest in yourself to ensure your survival, because the people who are running the show couldn't give a rat's ass about you. In fact, they want you gone. You're the carbon that's blocking up the air. You're taking their precious oxygen to breathe, damn it. How dare you? How dare you? I should be in school. So, all that in mind, you have to decide what is the level of perceived lunacy you want to have. Because it is perceived. Okay? Perceived lunacy. Other people might think you're crazy because you're stockpiling some food. And I'm not talking about going out and spending hundreds of pounds or dollars or whatever, wherever it is that you live. I'm talking about every time you do your shopping, just get a few extra tins. Get a couple of extra packets of pasta. I'm not talking about clearing out the supermarket shelves. I'm talking about doing a little something extra to help yourself should something happen. What are you going to do if the power goes out? Have you got any lighters or candles in your house? Anything you can do, and I'm talking anything, and I don't care what kind of budget you're on, because as I said before, I'm not a wealthy person. Everything I've done is because I work and I invest the money. Every penny I have, I invest in something. Either it's my education, it's food, it's crypto, it's silver. I pay my bills. We're going to be talking about bills soon too. But I do what I need to do, and then the rest gets invested. And food is an investment. So, I leave it up to you. I'm bringing you this information based on what they're telling you. Kristalina Georgieva said, well, we made a mistake. We made a mistake by printing too much money. Janet Yellen was saying that the inflation was transitory. Now she said, well, it might last longer and get much worse. Hear what they are saying. These are the people in control of the levers of the financial world. You've got to make a decision what you believe and what you think is true and what you're going to do about it. It's not my place to do that for you. But like in TheMatrix, because I love TheMatrix, when Morpheus says to Neo, I can only show you the door. You're the one who has to walk through it. It's the same here. I can tell you all day, I can speak all day about what I think, but you're the one that has to make a decision about what's important to you and your family. So, if you think this message is going to help someone, then share it. Because they're not going to listen to you, remember that. So they probably won't even listen to this because this comes from you, you understand? But just do what you can to help other people, even if they think you're a whack job, and believe me, everyone thinks I'm a whack job. Don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I'm doing what I do because I want to help people. This is my way of helping by sharing a message to say, look here, look at what's going on and do something to prepare and help yourself and your family. So if people want to think I'm a whack job for that, what do I care? It doesn't bother me. It really doesn't. So, all that said, all that in mind, eye on the prize, be unrelenting. The way you're going to get through all this is by being stoic. Don't back down, don't give in, ever forward, don't give up, eye on the prize, you will succeed. And if you've got the support of the community around you, like people that come here and are sharing their thoughts and their feelings and they're here and on their Telegram channel, that's what we need. We need to come together, all of us, everyone, because there is a small minority of people that are controlling us all through the machinations of media, social media, science, I am the science. It's all these mechanisms of control are all still there. You're going to decide how you're going to navigate around them. And things like being part of a community is really important. And if you really want to be part of a community, the guys over at redpills.tv, I'll put a link in the description down below. Great community of people, great content. Awesome. I can't praise them more. Be part of a community. And if you're not part of one, create one wherever you are. So, all that said, get out into the world and do good, be good. Look at the place we live. Look at this reality, if that's what you want to call it. It's beautiful. And the people in it are beautiful. We have a wonderful world, but we can make it better through our thoughts, our actions, how we speak to each other, how we interact. Some people, they need to be blasted. That's what I do on Twitter. I go on Twitter and abuse the hell out of politicians because they're not acting on our behalf. So that's an interaction, and we can influence the way that the world works through our interactions. We want to try and be nice to our friends. Try. But we can change the world with our actions and our interactions. So go and do that. We can make the world a better place. So, look after yourself, look after each other, go out into the world, do good, be good, and I look forward to speaking to you on the other side, because this is crazy and it's time to act. If you don't act, then I don't know what to tell you anymore. Look at what's happening, listen to the words they're saying, and do something positive for yourself. All right, I love you all. Thank you so much for being here. Look after yourself, look after each other, and I look forward to seeing you real soon. Ciao for now.